Welcome. Today we are going to be learning about one of my favorite topics to teach, and this is programming, more specifically Pascal. So Pascal is a programming language that we are going to have to use for CXC, CSEC. It's pretty simple, and a lot of the skills that you learn in Pascal carry over to other programming languages. So it's very useful for people who want to get into computer science. Well, I'd assume that you want to get into something coding or programming related if you're doing IT. So since mock exams are approaching soon, it's really good to just touch upon your skills. I know that many of you may not have learned it properly. So today, what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be showing you the fundamentals of Pascal. So variables, commands, and syntax mainly. So let's begin. Let's take a look at the structure of a program in Pascal. Oh, by the way, I'm using online GDB. You can find the link right here at the top. Just paste that into your browser and see if you can follow along. So let's take a look at the format of a program in Pascal. Well, first thing that happens is that the program is initialized. And right here, you'll see a semicolon. So what a semicolon normally means is that when you read here, go on to the next line. So let's take a look. So now after you have your program initialized, what we want to do is to, maybe put down some variables. So we put down variables under a section called var. This is where we declare our variables. So there are a few main data types that you need to be familiar with for CXC IT. These are integers, strings, booleans, and real numbers. So let's just take a look at them. So let's say I want to have a variable for my name. What I do is I just say var, underneath the var, I type in name, which is going to be the name of my variable, a colon, and then next the data type. Data type for this is going to be a string because our names are words. A way to remember string as the data type for words is to just think about words as a string of letters. That's the easiest way to remember it. So remember, we use our semicolon to say move on to the next line. And now let's begin with our actual program. So what do we want our program to do? This is the most important thing to think about. Before you write something, you have to know what you're doing, right? So let's say I want to write a program that prints someone's name. It's pretty simple, right? Let's say, for example, my name might be Paul. I'll just show you something that might toss you an error. So I'll just say write line name semicolon. So what exactly does write line name mean? So write line is the command that we use in Pascal to write a line. It just writes out text of either a variable or something that you explicitly state. So let's run it. Okay, so now we've seen this. Variable name does not seem to be initialized. Let's give ourselves a name. So my name is going to be Paul. Remember to put your single quotes. Always use single quotes. For the GDB compiler, it's going to toss an error if you use double quotes and semicolon again. So this right here, colon equal, it's basically the assignment operation. So it's different from a regular equal. Colon equal means that you're assigning something to a variable. Let's run it. Oh, nice. It prints out our name, Paul. So now we know a few basic stuff. We know how to initialize a variable. We know how to give our variable a value. And we know how to print a value, how to print that value. So now that we know this, let's continue. What if I wanted my variable to take someone's name instead of me having to put in that name itself? What if someone else is using the program and they want their name to be printed? So what we use here is a read line. Read line is how we input things in Pascal. So when you put in read line, it's going to prompt the user to type in something. So what I'm going to say is read line name semicolon. After it reads the name, it will print name because we have write line. So let's try it. So the reason why it's stalling right here is because it's waiting for us to write our name. So I'll write my actual name, Jamar, and it prints Jamar. However, it's a bit confusing, right? Just a while ago, even I was a bit puzzled. Like, what was I supposed to do when it stalled? This is because we didn't tell it what to write beforehand. What I'll do is first I'll add some instruction to say, please input your name. Now remember to put your semicolon, and now let's run it. And you see it writes, please input your name. Next, I'm going to put in my name, Jamar, and it prints out Jamar. So I wonder, what if I want to be a bit more interactive also? I can say, hello, space, and then my name. Now let's see how this runs. It should say hello, a space, and then my name. So let's try it. Jamar. Hello, Jamar. Yep, our program is working fine. However, in the context of CXC and exams, there's a few things that you really need to pay attention to. So first, when a question says prompt the user to do something, it means that you have to do two things. First, you have to write out the instruction using the right line to say, please input this, please type in this. And then next, you have to read that to a variable. So that's what it means to prompt. And also, if the CXC question asks for you to print something specifically, only print that. So if I had a question that said, read the user's name and then print the user's name, it would be a bad idea for me to put the hello right here. Why is this? Because I could potentially get marked down. It didn't ask for me to print anything about any hello. So in that case, this would be a lot more appropriate. However, if it was supposed to give a welcome message, like it specifically said a welcome message, like hi, say hi and then the user's name. Do what it tells you to do. We're trying to get marks here, even though it's fun to like do your own thing. We are trying our best to get marks. I myself have I've been somewhat guilty of this, where many times I feel like I write a very good program. It works perfectly fine. I think it hits all the marks. However, I didn't do what it said to do explicitly. So it's something that even if you know how to program in Pascal, you always have to pay attention to do. What I'd advise you to do is write out what it tells you to do. It's going to give you the question in paragraph format. Write out what you have to do in list format. It's a lot easier to see what to do. And in that case, you will be making a lot less mistakes. Remember, we're doing this for grades. So let's take a couple steps back and try and understand a bit more about what we're doing. First thing to look at are the variables. So